the American Pale Ale. So for right now on my panel, I do have a couple others down in the basement right now, so I'll mention them as well. They'll be coming up as we finish our brews. I'll swap out a couple of you guys and throw them up. But we have Anthony. Life is Beautiful. We have Drunken One.
Cheers.
He doesn't like his real name to be used, so I will not do that. We have Brian, Thrash Metal Homebrew and Barbecue.
Yeah, right.
If anybody wants to secretly shout it out during the feed, go ahead. We also have Beer Man. I'm not sure if he likes his name to be used either, so I won't do that. And then new to my panel, first time in Malty Monday, we have Michael Cormorell.
Hello. Welcome, Michael.
So cheers.
Hello.
Cheers to my my panel that's starting. In the basement right now, we do have Robert, who's Whisky Scout, and Eric, who is Thomas Metal 75. And right now, he's in the chat as well. So, hey, Thomas, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Yeah.
Right.
Got to boost the algorithm.
Doing the American Pale Ale. If there's anybody in the chat or just watching along, if you have an American Pale Ale and you want to drink and you don't want to join up on panel, cool. I can also throw in the link. I'll do that right now. So if there's anybody
I got you.
You got it. Okay. That way, if you do want to join the panel, you can. You'll be in the basement for a little bit, but then you will be brought up in. Let's go ahead and go through the BJCP readout a little bit there, and then we'll start off with Life is Beautiful. After that, he also has a good amount of history. He was telling me during the pregame here. So let's see here. Oh, I have to do the other thing. I can't just click on the damn thing. Okay, share screen. I'll figure this out one day.
First time?
No auto. First time ever. Been a long weekend. All right. So the American Pale Ale. Overall impression, a pale, refreshing, and hoppy ale, yet with sufficient supporting malt to make the beer balanced and drinkable. The clean hop presence can reflect classic or modern American or New World hop varieties with a wide range of characteristics. An average strength hop-forward pale American craft beer, generally balanced to be more accessible than modern American IPAs. Skip through all the stuff we don't really care about right now because we'll be talking about what we have on the panel. But comments, new hop varieties and usage methods continue to be developed. Judges should allow for characteristics of modern hops in this style, as well as classic varieties, becoming more of an international craft style with local adaptations appearing in many countries with an emerging craft beer market. So it doesn't have to be from America to be an American Pale Ale. It just has to meet the style. Hopping styles can vary from the classic large bitterness additions to more modern late hop bursted examples. All variations are allowable. History. Thank God this is a short story here. A modern American craft beer era adaptation of English Pale Ale, reflecting indigenous ingredients, hops, malt, yeast, and water. Prior to the explosion of the popularity of IPAs, was traditionally the most well-known and popular of American craft beers. Sweet. So with that, I'm going to allow Anthony to come up. I just want to say quick cheers to the chat right now. We got
BuMpY struggling.
It's going well. We got Whisky Scout. We have Vanessa Kitty in the chat. What if I'm not drinking a malt? Then you're not drinking beer. Cheers from Beer Man. Thrash. Vanessa Kitty. She mistyped. I was thinking something else. I retract that statement. Anthony, you ready to go? Here you
Ready to go.
Take the stage.
All right. So just going through a little more in-depth history on it real quick. As BuMpy said, the American Pale Ale is basically an extenuation of the English Pale Ale, which started around 1703 with developments in grain malting, which allowed a fuller flavor to be expressed with lighter colored malts, and that's what helped separate the pale from the bitter. And it was massively successful in the UK, becoming one of the most prominent beer styles, which caused it to spread to America in the late 1700s to early 1800s through European immigration. Unfortunately, it didn't really take off because lagers were so dang popular in America that it just couldn't compete. And it kind of went extinct. And you could argue that those were the first American pale ales. However, around 1975, Anchor Brewing actually came out with a beer that was dry hopped. It was one of the first dry hopped beers made in America in a very long time, probably close to 100+ years, at least sold on a massive scale. And that laid the foundation for what we could modern day consider an APA. And a couple years later in 1980s, Sierra Nevada released their iconic pale ale utilizing American hops, which became the definitive beer in the genre. And it basically laid the foundation for all pale ales in the American subcategory. So I decided for my beer tonight, I was going to take a little bit of a twist with it. I was lucky to be able to find this one. This is a UK brewery who made an American pale ale. So we're doing a little flip on them. This is Plain Sailing Weather from Wild Weather Brewing. There we go. And this one is brewed with Macret lime leaves. And Macret goes by a bunch of different types of names. It's also the Thai lime or the Kaffir lime or something like that. This one is utilizing just the leaves instead of the zest or the juice or whatever. So it's pretty interesting. Coming in at 7% ABV, and it is hopped exclusively with Sriracha Ace. So let's go ahead and crack on into it. Ooh, good pour, good pour. All right, so first off the bat, a little hazier than I was thinking it would be when I initially drank it. Usually the American pales are a little bit clearer, but with modern interpretations and modern brewing techniques, I think haze is just here to stay. Beautiful, vibrant orange color, but it does have a hint of a dinginess to it, and I can't help but think that probably was extracted from the leaves, depending on what part of the brew process it was added in. The head, nice, beautiful, solid white, very fluffy. It's got just a couple little bubbles up there, but absolutely no carbonation or effervescence down in the glass. All right, so you're being absolutely devastated by lime aromatics on the nose. It is so dang limey. But the interesting thing about it is it doesn't come across like your typical zest, your typical juice, which honestly I wasn't looking for since it's not in there. Unfortunately, I will say that it comes across a little bit more of cleaning product-esque, but I think it's just because it's so strong. It's so in your face lime that it's just unlike anything else I've ever experienced. It's way more intense than eating just an actual lime. Anyways, going in for the taste. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
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 All right. A couple things I really like about this. A couple things I don't like. What I do like, you do get that typical sweeter, bready caramel notes that you expect out of your pale ales. You get a lot of citrus forward flavor, but unfortunately, as much as I love Sriracha Ace, I don't think I'm getting that as much. I think I'm getting much more of the lime leaves. And that's where we start heading into the dislike category. The lime leaves are drastically overpowering almost everything else. No yeast flavor, no real malt character besides that initial sweetness. It's just absolutely devastating. And although this is lime on top of lime on top of lime, it comes across a little bit oilier. Like if you've ever zested a lime or like squeezed the juice out, you know, where you can like light it on fire with a match or whatever, that's that type of flavor you're getting. It's like pure lime oil. It's really intense. But that also provides a little bit of a sharper bitterness to it. So I do enjoy it overall. Moving into the mouthfeel, very medium. It's soft. It does have a roundness to it with just a tiny sizzle on the tip of your tongue from that carbonation. As strong as it is, coming in at 7% ABV, you're not feeling any type of alcoholic glow. You're absolutely not getting any warmth or heat in the face. It's just incredibly easy drinking. So as of right now, I'd say it's an interesting beer, and I think it could be divisive, but it is delicious in my opinion.
We will be back to Anthony with his score later on. And right now we're going to move on to Drunken One.
Oh boy, how do I follow that? He's such a brainiac. Golly. All right, so what I got is Dill's Pale Ale from Oscar Blues. It is brewed in Colorado, so in Brian's neck of the woods. It is a 6.5% pale ale, obviously, because it says pale ale on it. Pours up with kind of a you see the color there. Obviously, there are lots of bubbles. I don't know if you can see that or not. The kind of a rocky head on it, bigger bubbles, smaller bubbles, kind of combined. I've never had this that I remember, and so I'm giving it a try for the first time today. Okay, y'all know my nose, so don't work with the shit. I'm not sure why I'm even here. I'm just taking up a spot on the panel. It smells like a pale ale. I don't smell any of the hops necessarily. I do smell the malt. You can get kind of the malty backbone to it right away. Yeah, I'm not sure what the hops are in here. I probably should have looked it up, but I didn't. Guess I'll go back around and look at that later, and I'll give you some more information here in a second. All right, so let me give a little sip. Why'd you put me behind him? He's such a brainiac.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, first of all, it could be colder, but that's my own fault. Medium mouthfeel. It's definitely got a malty backbone to it. It's goes down pretty easy. Seems pretty refreshing. Yeah. So far, so good. See, I wasn't not long-winded like Anthony. Anyway, no.
You can't
I'm
stop
just jealous. Can you tell I'm just jealous?
Yeah, no, cheers, Drunk One. The Dill's Pale Ale is one of those classic, pale ales, pretty much.
It was put out in 2002 is what I was reading over here. Its color SRM is an 8.5, and it says it delivers a hoppy nose and assertive but well-balanced flavors of pale malts and citrusy floral hops. That's a little more into it anyway. But yeah, I guess they first started putting them out in 2002. Is what I'm reading over there. They originally released.
We do have another newcomer in the basement as well. He wasn't a little bit ago, popped out. Okay. I'm glad he came back, so I can say, Willie Kepley, just stay put William. Down there, buddy. We will we'll rotate through, so the three of y'all's in the basement will get your say.
Okay.
All right. We're going to move on to Thrash Metal. You just drank a beer from his neck of the woods, Colorado. So, it's a good segment. Good segue.
There you go.
Cheers, all.
Hey, there's Brian.
So I was going to do two, but since we got so many people, I'm only going to do one review. So this is Acclimated APA. It's from La Cumbra Brewing Company, and I think they're out of New Mexico. I'm looking at Beer Advocate, and it scored pretty high. Didn't score very high with me. It's a 5.3%. It's got some really good caramel color to it. It's got a bit of lacing. There's no effervescence whatsoever. There's no bubbles whatsoever anymore. I've had it open for less than 10 minutes. It's cold. I pulled it out of my keys are behind me, which stays at 30 degrees, maybe a one below, but yeah, it's very smooth. The malts are there. The hops are really light, and it's very thin. It's a very thin beer. I had it. I bought a 4-pack, and I had one last night or the night before, and it just came out to be a very, very thin beer. I think it just barely makes the APA. Because if you compare this to Dale's Pale Ale or my go-to,
There you go.
you know what I mean by the standpoint of they're just below that IPA line. You know what I mean with that bitterness. But the malts are very, they're there, but they're not prominent as well as the hops. It's like they watered it down or something. I don't know. It's just one of those weird things. The IBUs are supposed to be 35. It doesn't taste even 25. So looks like they've been making it for like 8 years. So it looks like they need 8 more to get to buy it. Not to shoot them down or anything, but yeah, this is it's not too bad. If I had to, I'd buy it again, but it's not going to be my first to fifth choice if you got other American pale ales lined up together. So yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. I cannot wait for his scoring on this beer. We're gonna move on over to Bear Man.
Yeah, sorry, I was coughing. How's it going? Thanks, Bumpy. Cool. So I kind of helped out the smaller company, if you want to say. They don't have enough people in the bottle shop I go to in Astoria. They had it on tap. They didn't have any pale ales, but they had it on tap. So I was like, yeah, because he had a canner and all that. So he went ahead and they're trying to get rid of all their shit because there's no one can't sit in there to have it at the bar. But so I went and got this. It's the Sun River Brewing Company out of Sun River, Oregon. It's the Ripon Northwest Pale Ale. It's at 6%. It has 50 IBUs, I see, on Untapped, and it scored a 3.83. It's a pretty good beer. I've had this several times, but let's see how it tastes out of the tap. No date, obviously, because it's a canned one. Nice. About a finger and a half-ish. It's really bright and citrusy with lemons and fruit, tropical fruits. There's a slight like breadiness on the side. It's mixed real well and balanced real good. A little lemon in there, a little just some tropical fruit, lemon. You get that malt. When you do those quick sniffs, man, you get the malt punching through it. It's nice. A nice white head, firm white head. It's a deep golden color in my light. Deep golden in that too. It's pretty clear. It's almost at a brilliance in a way. Like it's like you could see fingerprints and stuff through that. I mean, it's nice. No sediment. Looks real good. It's at a very slow rising bubble though. Maybe because it came out of the tap. I don't know. No, yeah, very slow. Let's go ahead and taste this.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. That's the first time I seen you smell it where you didn't inhale the froth.
It is warm. Let me get another.
Beer Man's usually snorting foam.
It's at a warm temp right now, so you're getting a lot of, you're getting the taste. You're just totally grabbing your tongue, your palate. It's very smooth, kind of crispy on the tip of the tongue. Rolls into this like cool citrusy tropical like a lemon rindiness on the top of the tongue, and this tropical fruit. Tropical fruit. I don't know what kind of fruit. Some kind of fruit. Let's see. Maybe I can make it mango. A little mango, actually.
It actually sounds pretty good.
It is.
Yeah, a little mango, little orange, little tangerine rind, lemon rind, mixed, kind of a weird burst of energy with citrus and tropical. It dries. It's a nice wet feeling on the tongue, kind of dries back, a little longer finish. It's nice though, since it is a lower percentage. 6% is not too bad, but it's got a nice feel to it. So the mouth feels really, it's easy drinking. It's going back. It's refreshing. It's very good lawnmower beer, if you want to call it that. A little more richer for a lawnmower beer, but it's definitely refreshing. I would drink this on a hot summer day, colder, of course. But yeah, I mean, this is really good. So cheers, guys. I'm happy. I would buy this again. Yes, I would.
Cheers.
And I have before.
Nice. So, Komarov, it's now your time to shine.
Okay.
I'm going to bring you on up.
He's a professional.
Okay. This is from North Carolina in Greensboro. The brewer is Natty Greens, GREENS, and it's called Mighty Citra. It's a single hop pale ale at 5.4%. They don't tell you what the what the IBU is, so I'm not sure what the IBU is on this. This is one of the beers I got from my cousin, who sent me a bunch in North Carolina. The head was bigger when I poured it. I don't know if you can notice on the side of the glass now, it's mostly lacing out, but it's got good lacing, and it is reformulating the head as you swish it. But like Anthony's beer, it is a little bit hazy, which is not typical for a pale ale, but it's not as hazy as some of the New England IPAs, so you can't see through it. Just a mild, and I don't think it's a chill haze because it just seems like it's the regular haze on this beer. Let me get a nose on it. Kind of getting some grapefruit pith and maybe some tropical as well, maybe some pineapple, like a combination nose. Let me give it a taste. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Michael.
Well, there is some bitterness up front. I would guess the IBUs to be maybe about 35 or 40. Kind of sometimes hard to exactly figure it, but that's what I would say it's probably. It's medium bodied. I'm trying to see what else I can get from the taste. The taste does follow the nose, getting citrus, getting some tropical, maybe a little bit piney too, but not as, again, not like some of the West Coast IPAs, more maybe like East Coast kind of style. What else am I getting? A little bit dry on the finish, but in this case, it's positive. It's well balanced. You're getting the malts as well. The hops are, the single hop, the Citra, is probably giving all those taste qualities that we got so far, and I'm enjoying this. I'll be back with a number.
Awesome. Well, you're not going to have as much time as you might be thinking for a number.
I'll formulate it now.
So think quick.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is, everybody that's gone already, if you want to go through, if you feel like scoring your beer, score your beer, or just say whatever you want about it. After that, if three of you would want to volunteer to drop out, then I'll do that to bring the other three up. But like I do with the polling, I think we have such a big crowd going now with the panel that we'll probably move into create like a Google Hangout thing. To where we can all be in there to do the after party and polling creation. So
Okay.
So stick around, even after you're gone. I mean, if you have to leave and do other things, by all, do it. But if you want to come back and help try to pick out the 4 different beers for the poll, that'd be fantastic. So I'm just going to keep it at this screen right here.
All right.
Anthony, you went first, so.
All right, so going back, plain sailing weather lime American Pale Ale made from a UK brewery. I gotta say, for a pale ale, it's getting everything that I want out of an American Pale Ale. It's definitely got the flavor attributes, even though I'm not sure it's coming from the traditional source. It's way more adjunct heavy than it is hop heavy, but the flavors are still the same. And all the flavors are exactly where I want it to be. So for a American Pale Ale, I would definitely give it a much higher score. I would definitely say it's in the 85 to 89 range. For the beer itself, I gotta say I am a little disappointed with how lime blasted it is, except I guess that's, you get what you pay for, and that is what they're advertising. So it's great for its intended purpose. It's just not great on my palate. So for that, I'd definitely say a little bit lower at the 80 to 84 range. So overall good, just not great.
Nice. Before we move on to Drunken One, I want to say this too. For those that do volunteer, the 3 that do volunteer to head off afterwards, if you want to shout out your channel, anything going on, or anything on your mind that you want to talk about before you do put yourselves in the basement, then please do so.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. So Life is Beautiful. I do beer history on my channel, and nothing really going on. I just released a video today talking about the history of St. Bernardus Abbey 12 and its unusual connection to West Vletterland 12. So if you're into beer history or anything like that, check me out. So thank you very much for having me on, BuMpy, and I'll be around for the polling later.
Awesome. And Life is Beautiful is in the chat, so anybody that's not familiar with his channel, you can find his link right there in the chat. Just click on his we'll call that a snifter. Just a snifter glass.
Yeah.
It says LIB in it.
I'll be in the chat. Cheers to the panel. Good seeing all of you again. I'll see you all later.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cheers,
Thank you for joining in.
Right. And I'll move along quickly because I know you got other people to bring in. But okay, so I took my notes like I usually do. I found it to be well balanced, a little bit bready. The lacing is awesome. It sticks to the glass like crazy. It's medium bodied. Unless I said that the first time, it is medium bodied, and it has a dry finish. Brewer's Advocate or Beer Advocate or whatever gives it an 87. And hey, I think I like their score, and I would definitely share it with friends. It's an 87 or maybe an 89. I'll do an Alex Beermaster right there. It's a darn good beer. It's probably be better if it were cold because, well, it's just a little bit warmer than it could be. But yeah, I'll go an 89 if Mr. Cormoroff, sir. Sorry, I've changed up on you. And then I will.
He's got erasable ink, so
there's nothing on my channel. Y'all know what I do anymore. There's nothing on my channel, but you're welcome to come by and look at it. Anyway, I will set up the Hangouts thing, and I will put it around to where everybody can find it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Cool. So, first, BuMpy, thanks for having me on. And
thank you for joining. I think it's awesome to have all you coming on. So
yeah. So yeah, kind of disappointed in this one. I still got 2 more to go through. I'll drink them, but they're not the fave. But it did have some citrus notes to it, but they're not overwhelming. It's like a lime zest, kind of a grapefruity. But it's not where it should be. It's the levels are not there. So I'm kind of disappointed in it. And I'm going to go ahead and rate this at 76. So definite C. Beer Advocate gave it an 87. It was ranked. There's too many in front of it. But yeah, it's ranked pretty low actually. But
Yeah.
yeah, Thrash Metal Homebrew, lots of video stuff going on right now. I did a brew day last week, and I'm doing a follow-up on the fermentation of a lime Hefeweizen that I made 10 gallons in a 14-gallon fast ferment.
Nice.
That should be coming out soon. Doing a lot of retro stuff, so lots of working on these things and fixing them, and so you see some more of that coming on, and hopefully soon, if things clear up in the world, we'll be able to get some barbecue going. So thanks for having me, man. Cheers.
And thank you for
Cheers.
being on. Looking forward to the nicer weather too.
Yep.
So. Ooh, gassy. Beer man.
I think my gas left finally. God, it's like filled for 4 days in my stomach. I had wine last night. That's what did it. I had wine. That was a change up.
I thought you said Wang. I was like, Wang Chung?
I had Wang Chung tonight. Yeah. I'm happy with this beer colder and in a can. On their tap, I think it just got warm and I didn't have time to cool it up. But a lot of the flavors did come out of it. It's a very well balanced pale ale, Northwest pale ale at that. I don't know. I guess maybe more malt or something like that. It's a 6%, a little higher than, I don't know. It's about range, right? It's balanced. It's got the lemon, got the orange. The orange really comes out. A little bit of grapefruit, some rindy action in the back with the bitter bite. It's everything in the mouth to the back to the finish was perfect. Out of 100, I would definitely give this a 90. Definitely a good beer. I would have it again for sure. Oh, that's my phone.
No, that was my phone.
Oh, okay. I was like,
oh wait, hold on. I just joined something. I'm not trying to join yet. I'll be back.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to close it out and it made me join. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers, beer man. Sorry about the interruption there. I didn't expect my phone to be going through the oh, you know what it was? It's because that's what it is. It was going through my actual laptop.
Oh,
my phone's on silent, so it's just vibrating. But the do it was coming through my laptop. That's why. Okay. So, Michael, it's up to you now. And then the remaining panel members.
Okay, I enjoyed this beer a lot, and I'm going to give it a 91. And I've been these North Carolina beers I've tried have been shockingly good. I really have not been exposed to that many of them until now, and I'm lucky that I have a cousin in Winston-Salem and a nephew in Raleigh, so I can depend on getting some of these if I need. And they will mail them to me, so it's not like they have to physically come up and visit, because my nephew has 2 young children and he's not about to make any road trips anytime soon. But he can send me stuff if I want, so that's really good. But it's well balanced, and I like the combination of the citrus, the little bit of tropical, and the malt in it together makes it very well balanced. And I guess that's the Citra hop. That the Citra hop does that. I guess it's a single hop variety.
Mm.
And I would try this again and buy this again if I had the opportunity. I'd never heard of Natty Greens, so it must be a small local brewery in Greensboro, and I definitely would try something else from them if I could. Extremely good. So that's an A- on my scale.
Cool.
A-, not bad. Not bad. So I'm going to bring up our basement dwellers right now. I do want to say to Todd, who's in the chat, you got some time. We got 3 more panel coming up, plus I still have to go. So if you can find time to get those kids to bed and grab a beer and sit down and wipe your brow of some sweat, and well, clean your hands first, though. For God's sake. All right, let's bring in Robert, the Whisky Scout. Got Eric Thomas Metal 75,
What's up?
and we have Will E. Kepley.
Hey, William.
Well, what's up?
So we're gonna start with saying cheers. How was the time in the basement? Was it too bad, guys?
Oh no,
No.
was
Whiskey,
insightful.
you didn't drink all of your beers. did you?
no, I've been
Yeah.
patient.
Not
Very,
not one drop did I drink of this yet.
Well, you don't have to be
I've been
patient any
very
longer.
patient.
It's your turn. Your turn to go on this one. So let's hear about your pale ale.
We have a Boulevard Pale Ale by Boulevard Brewing out of Kansas City, Missouri. And it is a 30 years of great beers. It actually says on the front, first keg, November 17th, 1989, our original. And it's good stuff. I like it. So now I will pour some. It's not quite as lemony as a lot of them. Now, I know Drunken ones seemed a little darker in color than the other guys', but it pours with a good thick foam head, probably 2 fingers. White foam head. I can tell you just by previously drinking waiting, this is a grapefruit beer. It's got a lot of grapefruit notes in it. It's just really grapefruit forward. To me, that's 30 IBUs, by the way. 5.4% alcohol by volume, 30 IBUs. And my enjoy date is 27 April 2020 on it. So we're well within that. But man, it's good. It smells good.
I like the labeling on that. It actually reminds me of like older style.
Well, they've changed. Yeah, Boulevard used to be it's a little different label. They've changed labels here last year or so. So I'm sorry. I'm just digging in because it's got a nice bitterness, but the bitterness is very controlled. The grapefruit adds to that bitterness, and it brings there's a certain sweetness in it that's there. It's not dominant, but this is very balanced. It's a very balanced beer, ale. In fact, it's warmed up. This one's warmer than the original one, so I don't have a extremely cold one, and I'm still enjoying it. I have no problems. So anyway, I know that ain't much to say other than if you like grapefruit notes, a decent balanced bitterness to sweetness ratio. I don't know what else to say. I just don't have the descriptors yet. A lot of you guys do on some of these.
Sounds like it's a well-made pale ale because it did say that it should be a malty backbone with hoppy presence, basically, but
Yeah,
not too one-sided. So
yeah, there's definitely a maltiness to it. Yeah, it's not like the roasted dark malts in the stout or nothing, but there's definitely a malty character here.
Yeah,
that's really, and it kind of up front on the tongue. It's not in the back. The back is where the bitterness tends to develop for me. So anyway, that's all I got.
Awesome.
all right. 12 mil 75. Booyah.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for stopping by the Bumpy Road Brewery channel of YouTube. This is Thomas Metal 75 with a beer review. Wow, there you go. I got a couple. I got this one and an India Pale Ale left from a DC Brew variety pack. This is their beer called the Public Pale. It's their American Pale Ale. They are out of Washington, D.C., and they say on the back of the can, New Columbia was a proposed U.S. state by Congress in 1983. Oh, there's your fact for the day. D.C. statehood facts. All right, this is 6% alcohol by volume, and this was canned on the 14th, I believe, of January 2020. This is 6%, yep, and it's 40 IBUs, and it's their most popular offering and continues to be sought after. It incorporates Vienna and medium crystal malts and Centennial hops. It's year-round. I don't know what kind of awards it's won, but it has won some awards in the past, and I've drank literally none of it since the review started, so it's been open for that 39 minutes. The head is just not all that big. It's one at the most fingers there, one in like almost maybe 3/4 of a finger. There you go. And it's definitely got that tan look to it, and it has more of that caramel toffee kind of a orangey look to it. There's a lot. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but it's sediment rich with really, really small amounts of sediment, but it's a little bit see-through. So very nice looking beer thus far. Good amount of carbonation still, yeah. It's smelling very brown bready, that caramel, that toffee. I know that according to BuMpY's definition he read earlier, it's not really supposed to have a bunch of that caramelized flavor to it, but I'm definitely getting that on the nose. That apricot, like marmalade kind of jam fruit note to it, that fruit preserve kind of notes in there with this one. And what else? I guess there is some grassy kind of hopping in that too, very floral, but more of it's that tropical fruit with the toasty, bready malts. So kind of reminding me on the English side of almost like a hoppier ESB or something. But cheers. Let's try the...
Cheers, Eric.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So it has moved up a little bit in that 39 minutes, obviously. And what I'm getting out of it is a light towards the medium, sort of a sticky body. I would say it's straight up medium. It's got a nice crispness to it, a nice thing on the tongue. It's very dry. So the only thing that I'm getting really left is that apricot, almost like that orangey, citrusy kind of a note to it. There's definitely a bit of a piney resin to it, not a whole bunch. 40 IBUs. It's definitely felt, but not cloying or anything like overly bearing on your taste buds. Definitely those toasty, bready malts are still there with the caramel and the toffee and the brown bread. Again, this maltiness is very British in influence to me. It's reminding me of like an ESB with those kind of malts, or even like an American or a English sort of a pale ale. So if I were blindfolded, I'm getting the pininess to it and those caramel malts. So you could think West Coast with that sort of style, but for some odd reasoning, the way that they're doing it is giving me that English feel, and that's sort of what I'm getting an inspiration even from a Washington DC brewery. It's pretty good. It's definitely not my favorite. I don't know if because of the definition that BuMpY read, maybe I'm not thinking caramel as much, but I've noticed that these kind of beers can be anywhere between this color and that kind of a malty forward flavor all the way to New England style breweries making those New England IPAs, but just doing less hopping and less ABV, and you're getting that flavor. So you got a big range of beers in this style, but this one's probably going to be at least, I'll give you my rating anyways, this one's probably at least an 87. I'll agree with Beer Advocate on that one. It's pretty good. I guess not my favorite thing, but if you like the caramel, bready, toffee, slightly piney, this one's for you. Cheers.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, I've always wanted to try DC, bro.
They make a really good imperial style called On the Wings of Armageddon.
Yeah,
That's all I found out
Life's
about
Brewful said that's one of his top 10 beers. So
it's very good.
all right, I'm super excited to see what Will has.
See if we can hear him.
Hello, guys.
Huh?
I have a Sweetwater Pale Ale, Extra
Nice.
Pale 420 from Sweetwater Brewery in Atlanta, Georgia. 5.7% ABV and 39 international bitterness units. And this is the second best-selling APA in the United States, only trailing Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale. Pretty impressive considering they only distribute the beer in 18 states. So it's quite popular. This is their flagship beer, their go-to beer, sessionable daily drinker, and so it's been very popular for Sweetwater.
Nice. Will, I'm gonna say it is a little bit difficult to hear you. It's like your volume's down.
Okay.
So if you don't have like a quick fix to it, I think we can all be quiet enough that we'll hear you. If you had something that you could possibly do to bring your volume up a bit.
Is that better?
No, it's about the same, but I think after you do sit closer, maybe it will
Okay.
pick you up a little bit.
I'll try to sit closer here. Okay, I've got mine here. I'll give it a pour and see how it is.
Steady your hands in the kitchen to pour beer for William Pepley.
Yep.
That brewery came into New England like last summer, I think. So I've only had a few times to taste their stuff. I thought that one was really, really good. So I'm curious to see what William thinks after having it for a longer period of time than us New Englanders.
Wow.
Hazy
Nice.
gold in appearance, a very thick white, slightly off-white head, sort of more memory foam than sudsy. It looks like right now. On the aroma, strong grapefruit note, very strong. Which, not surprisingly, they use the Cascade hops in this. They use Cascade and Centennial hops, which are both dual action hops, which can add both bittering and flavor. But a little piney underneath that, and the pale malt makes its presence felt a little bit too. But the first thing that really grabs you is that grapefruit note. Interesting, the Cascade hops are also the primary hops in the Sierra Nevada Pale. So, cheers on that.
Cheers, William.
I think that kind of makes William more audible with the echo. So there you go. Second taste.
The nose pretty much follows through to the palate on this one. Nothing surprising. You get pretty much the classic flavor profile of an American Pale Ale. This one, by using the Cascade hops, the grapefruit is the predominant citrusy flavor. And the pale malts, they use the 2-row and 6-row malt, and also a little bit of wheat in the malt here. And it's pretty good. But I'm thinking right now, it's an expression I heard someone once make, that the good is the enemy of the best. And I have right beside me sitting here a can of the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, which is my sort of reference or benchmark standard for this style. It just doesn't quite measure up to that. That's the only thing I can say. It's a little bit muted, just the flavor profile overall. It's like it was a volume that's just turned down maybe 1 or 2 notches. It's fine, very drinkable. I can see why it's quite popular. The drinkability factor is very high, 5.7%. It's very sessionable, but it's just a little bit a notch below that. So as you drink more of these beers, you sort of develop a reference point, your own standard of what you think is excellent versus good or average or mediocre. It's pretty good, but like I say, it doesn't quite measure up to the Sierra Nevada, in my opinion. Certainly nothing wrong with it, just a notch below that.
It's called 420, but you didn't mention any dankness.
It's the Centennial hops give a little bit of earthiness.
Okay.
There's a little bit of the piney notes in there. I said, which is part of your classic APA flavor profile, but it's all nothing. I'd say the predominant is the grapefruit, and everything else sort of is beneath that. But
is it terpene infused, or is it hemp seeds that are used in it? What kind of I think Sweetwater does like a terpene infused beer. They have like their series of cannabinoids where they add the flavors of cannabis.
One thing I also should note about this one is also dry hopped and can conditioned.
Nice.
Like there's certainly nothing wrong with it. If I hadn't been drinking, I guess the Sierra Nevada is my sort of go-to in this style for the APA on a regular basis. And if it wasn't for that, I would say this is, and it's still pretty good. It's a nice lacing.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't quite measure up to that. And I guess, when you're spending your money, I would grab the Sierra Nevada first.
All right.
I looked it up on the website for Sweetwater, and apparently the 420 only means that, as they say in the website, they first conceived in our bat cave on 420. So I guess
Actually,
April 20th must have been when they came up with the recipe for that beer. But they do have the hop or the hempy offerings in their 420 series as well, if you want that. Where's the weed flavor? They go for the hemp ones, right?
It's actually terpenes. It's like the aromas, oils, and stuff that are extracted and put into the secondary or however they do it. But
only in America.
Oh yeah.
First brewed. It was April the 20th of 1997. So that's what the 420 means.
Okay. Yeah, that threw me off. I was thinking 420 was going to be a marijuana flavored beer.
There's a dispensary over here with that same sign that says 420. So I thought it was a pot related beer.
When you asked me that question, it sort of took me back a little bit. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't expecting that. But the 420, there's nothing. It's just April the 20th, 1997. It was first created in their back cave. So that's that. So I'm glad we got that cleared up.
Yeah.
As Strother Martin might say, a bit of miscommunication, but that's what that is. But overall, like I say, very good, like a summertime outdoor grilling beer when people are able to congregate again, naturally.
Right. I have to buy a new grill this year. Might as well get a small one, though, because not like we're going to be able to have a big party.
Yeah, this might be a down year for that, but
have to have less than 10 people.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed when I was in the
6 feet apart.
When I was in the basement when Michael had his Natty Green beer. Natty Greens in Greensboro has been around since 2004. They were known as Greensboro's Brewery, and I think Michael spelled it with a G-R-E-E-N. There's an E on the end of it. Nathaniel Green was a Revolutionary War hero. The city of Greensboro was named after him. He was considered General Washington's most dedicated general and was very instrumental in the Americans winning the American Revolutionary War. He commanded the entire Southern theater in the war and was known as the savior of the South. So I just thought I'd throw that in. A little bit of history here for the brewery there. Being myself a native North Carolina, Tar Heel, I just thought I would throw that in for good measure.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll be back to give out scores and final reflections of the beers that the three of you guys have done. I'm gonna bring myself up. I'll show what I brought. So what I have is from Conway, New Hampshire. It is an American Pale Ale brewed by Tuckerman Brewing Company. They do all their beers naturally carbonated or naturally conditioned within the bottles. True to style, they do not put the ABV anywhere on the bottle or the box it comes in, so I have no clue what the ABV is on this. A little story on it says, Tuckerman Pale Ale is our interpretation of an American Pale Ale brewed using the finest English and Belgian malts, plus 4 different domestic hops. It's dry hopped and naturally carbonated in the bottle, thanks to a small amount of fresh fermenting wort we put in the final filtered beer. This age-old conditioning process creates a live beer with just a little yeast remaining in the bottom of the bottle. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, and just it might make it a little bit more cloudy. I don't know, but we'll just get any of the sediment mixed in there. And doing so, I roused up a nice head building up in the bottle. All right. So it pours with a fairly tight white bubbled head. The coloration of the beer, it's looking a lot darker on camera than what I'm seeing. If I just hold it off here, it's kind of just like a gold coloration. It's about that color is what the beer actually is. So it's a nice deep gold. Still has a nice clarity to it. The aromas, it's going to be a difficult one. This one doesn't have any like real aromas that pop out and just scream at you like, hey, I'm grapefruit. Hey, I'm orange. It's kind of a little bit citrusy, a little bit floral. And I'm thinking, based off that, it's not going to taste anything like either one of those. So let's go in for the first swig. Cheers.
Cheers, Jesse.
Cheers. For beers.
Cheers.
Cheers, my Martian friend.
Wow, he's Martian. Whoa, what? Martian.
So yeah, it's got kind of a bready, almost like a white bread malt backbone. There's a hop presence in the flavor itself, and it doesn't come off screaming, like I said, in the aromas. Hey, I'm an orange. Hey, I'm grapefruit. I'm pineapple. It doesn't do any of that. It says, I'm hoppy, and I'm going to leave you with a tad bit of bitterness at the tail end. So to me, this one kind of almost comes off not quite earthy, but it's more on the earthier palate. So maybe a little bit herbal. It's easy to drink, fairly clean in the flavor. There's no harsh bitterness, no harsh bite to it. It kind of has a smooth, soft mouthfeel to it. I'd say lower end carbonation, not even getting into that medium carbonation level. It's on the lower realm, but it does have a little bit of some bubbly action in the mouth. So yeah, it's not super exciting, but it's easy to drink. There's no faults with it. It's just a blah pale ale.
Oh my.
It's just a blah pale ale.
That's my thought, having it a couple of times.
No, just kidding.
I think I like it more than drinking like an American adjunct lager. There's more flavor, like with the bready like white bread malt note coming through, and like I said, it's got the hoppiness to it. You can tell there's hops in it. You get the bitterness. It's just not coming off as like flavorful brew, but easy to drink, well balanced.
Does it make any difference the places that they say that they are sourcing the hops there, or the malts? It's British and what do they say? Belgian? Does that
Belgian and British? So Tuckerman, they basically do a ton of German style beers. They have an alt beer out that's fairly decent. Some wheat beers, stuff like that. They don't have like a huge lineup, but this is one of their standards. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's like a little mix of a few different cultures into one. So,
Gotcha.
this is almost based off of possibly like more of like an English style bitter or something like that. They are using American hops, I do believe. It says domestic hops, so yes, it would be American hops. But yeah, it's decent. It's decent. So kind of see where my score is probably going to go here, but I'm going to bring up the rest of us, and we'll start off with Whisky Scout.
Oh. Well, I'm on my third one. She takes so damn long.
Yeah.
Robert knows what they're thinking. It's fun.
But there's one thing that I've noticed
Right.
that I didn't, that's kind of came to me since we've been talking and everything. I think it leaves a mouthfeel in your mouth, almost like if you eat a meringue off like a lemon pie. The meringue itself, there's that slight sweetness that comes along with it, with the underlying citrus that you would get from like a lemon pie underneath or something. But it's definitely grapefruit in nature to my palate. That's the one thing I do. I'm going to give it a 90. I like it. It's definitely sessionable. It's definitely good. It's an all-around balanced, great beer. I mean, I can't find nothing wrong with it. But then again, there's not something in there that just reaches out and sends it completely over the edge. It makes me want to give it a higher score per se. So that's what I think.
Nice. I did give the score on the DC Brow the public. I'm going to stick with, there's where I live. I'm going to stick with Beer Advocate and my own rating at an 87. I'm drawing a blank who talked about some sweetness, or maybe it was Willie or Michael that talked about some sweetness to hoppy ratio. I like to call that the malt to hop ratio in my palette of definition terms. I think this is maybe it's almost 60-40, or what is it, 70-30 almost, a little bit on the hoppier side. So I kind of like a little bit more balanced. But again, if you like the extra special bitter style, you like piney notes, and maybe even like just the plain old British style with the fruity qualities to their pale ales, you would definitely like the DC Brow. I know, crazy thinking DC beer tastes like Britain, but it kind of does. 87. Yeah. Again, nothing earth shattering like BuMpY-isms, but still good if you get it. Yeah. What do you think for a score on your beer, William?
BuMpY just created a new beer category tonight, BPA Blah Pale Ale. They should add that to the BJCP. On my Sweetwater, I would give this one an 85. Numerical score. And on my Taco Bell rating scale, I would a hot and half a fire.
One hot and half a fire.
Half a fire, if I can. Right
here. Very nice.
Let me see if I can get them both up here at the same time. I'm too close to the camera. Here we go.
All right, now what you need to do is you need to add both of those to the remaining amount of beer you have and drink it.
Hell yeah. That'll be extra pale, all right.
That might be interesting.
Extra hot tea.
That would equate to about a 3.5. A hot and half of a fire. The Diablo is only for world class. That's the fifth.
Yeah.
The bottom one is Arby's horsey sauce. I had to find something to put at the bottom because they discontinued the Taco Bell green packet sauce. So that's
the Verde.
Score that one.
Well, for mine, I think I'm going to go William Kepner's route on this one and compare it to the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and I would much rather have that over this one. Sierra Nevada one's just such a classic for an American Pale Ale. Nice, crisp, kind of citrusy, sparkly, delicious. This one is a little blah. I think I'm going to go with let's score this one around an 84 out of 100. I think that's a fair score for it being very, very drinkable, very sessionable. Just nothing exciting, but you know, if people can down a ton of Budweisers and stuff like that and be okay with them, yeah, this is kind of like the Budweiser Pale Ales. I'd say it's just there for drinking. And
Damn, ouch.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. It's just
mild,
the style that it is. So.
Well,
anybody want to go ahead and say anything that's going on in their channel, their life, any shout outs, whatever they want to do right now, feel free to do that. I'm going to go take a quick BuMpy leak.
Okay.
Drain some of the pale ale out of me. And we'll be back with some closing remarks.
What's going on William Kepley's new channel? What's my ABV, or what's the ABV?
Okay, I started it about a week and a half ago. I've done about 4 videos so far. I'm enjoying it, you know. And I also started a Facebook group called "You Can't Rock to Your Bach." Rock to your Bach.
Nice.
It's a mashup of classic rock music and beer.
That's fucking cool.
And I posted some photos of some of the stars drinking beers. Even Michael Jackson was holding a Budweiser.
Oh yeah.
And 2 members of Metallica with stout mustaches. They were drinking Guinness Stout.
Hell yeah.
James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett. So
things I enjoy immensely together.
Rock music and beer. You might want to check it out. It's going pretty well right now. I like the direction it's taking. For enthusiasts. You know, it's not people posting stuff. It's not rock and roll music.
Yeah.
You know, they're not posting Andy Williams songs like on some of these.
Right.
Here and enjoy music and the backstories about music. Like I did a little bit of a background today that John Bonham was not originally meant to be the drummer for Led Zeppelin. He was not the first choice, amazingly. It was B.J. Wilson from Procol Harum.
Whoa, damn.
They wanted specifically. He turned them down because he didn't know that Led Zeppelin would become a huge band. And so John Bonham was the second choice, and he got the gig. And it's hard to imagine Led Zeppelin without John Bonham in retrospect. So it's stuff like that. If you enjoy classic rock music and beer photos and beer songs, a lot of songs include beer in the lyrics. So you might want to check it out. It's called Rock to Your Bach Facebook.
That's awesome.
Legendary people right here.
In addition to
I can even do this. That guy and that guy.
Yeah.
There you go. Woo!
Not me.
Those guys. Yeah. This whole StreamYard backwards thing is awful. Join Wildcard Wednesdays on Jay Terrio or Terrio's channel with that guy and probably that guy and maybe everybody else here. Who knows? It could be fun. Wednesdays at 7 Eastern Standard Time. Your mileage may vary on that time, but join us.
Usually starts around 7:20 to 7:30.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah. I think 7:30 is the usual start time, but sometimes Ron just gets fast on the trigger.
No profanity or laughter. Love that at all these days. No.
Well, you know, he doesn't burn the late midnight oil because he's got dawn busters to do. So
he's got a drink in the morning, people.
His schedule is a little bit different than some of the other panels.
He's Michael Komarov. He's a champion. El Champion. All right, cool.
Whisky Scout,
Yes.
you got anything to plug? Anything to throw in?
No, I have went through all my videos in the queue, so I got to get out and make some more. That's about it for me.
Deal.
I guess we lost Eric.
He's gone.
Bumped himself up.
Oh,
All right, Michael. Nothing going on.
Thank you.
Life's good. Life's great.
Thank you for having me on your show.
No. I want to thank you guys for joining. I mean, you guys all make my show. Otherwise it would just be me doing a live beer review, which would be stupid. That's so fun without fast forwarding through me going, not getting crap.
No.
What is that flavor? But no, I want to say, like I said at the beginning, if you guys are following along, you're watching, you're in the chat, if you ever want to join up on panel, you're free to do so. Please bring the beer that we're doing, the style that we're doing, to join panel, unless it's like, the ice block, where it was a debacle. So, but you can always bring the beer that we're doing, drink and chat with us. We go through the BJCP. Anthony's been kind enough to do some more research and give us a little extra history, which is awesome. Appreciate the knowledge coming in. Appreciate all of the great panel members that we have coming. We got some fabulous folks who I always look up to and enjoy listening to what they have to say about beer. Michael Kormeroff, Willie Kepner,
Not the Whisky Scout.
I like what he says about whiskey more, but hey, he's really getting into beer now too. So he's got a great palate as well. Beer Man, always fabulous to have you on. Drunken One was in earlier. We had Thrash Metal Homebrew, awesome guys. Eric just left. He always gives a really good description and story on his brews. Face for radio, but who else do we have in here? At one point. What was that?
Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony. Yeah, I mentioned him in the beginning there, giving off the great history and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm enjoying seeing the new people popping up in the panel. Folks in the chat, you're always welcome. I do throw the StreamYard link in the chat. So if you're not able to grab the link out of one of our various hangouts that we have, I always put it in there first to build a panel, and then we go live. And then, but you're always welcome to jump in the stream. If I do have an overflow, which I have had past couple times, we rotate. We get through it. We work it all out. We are going to be going to an off-air hangout. If anybody wants to join, I am not forcing anybody to join and try to come up with the next 4 styles for the poll. But there will be a poll created. The poll will be added to all of our various hangouts. It will also be put into the description of this video. So once this uploads, when we get the poll built, anyways, thanks to Drunken One, he's been the champ building that poll with us. So that will be posted. So everybody that watches or just happens to come across the link can vote on the next style. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the beer. It's a style, and then I will take beers within that style to do based off of what I have as a going list. Beers that we've already done are done. So sorry guys, there's not going to be any more New England style IPAs. They're done. So we're going to have different beers coming up. So hopefully they are beers that some people haven't heard of, haven't tried, but can hopefully get. That's the other problem that I've been running into with this, is that some of these are just like really difficult brews to get unless you live in a certain region of the world. with that said, I want to thank the chat. I want to thank the viewers, even if you're not chatting, if you're just popping in and vegging out and enjoying the stream, listen to my awesome panel members that I've had on here. I want to thank you guys for once again joining. And Multi Mondays, I want to say it's every Monday. It should be every Monday. It has been so far. If there's any kinks in the plan on that, then I'll try to let you know if it's not going to happen, or if I can't join for some reason. If somebody else wants to take over the Multi Monday for that night, like John's done a few times on his Stout Sundays, John and Nelly, then we can possibly do something like that. And the other thing is the poll that we do create comes down. It ends after Wildcard Wednesday ends, which is typically around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that show stops. So get your polling in before Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. And then I'll create a quick little video of what the next brew is going to be. We'll all go out and try to find it, and sometimes hate on BuMpy because it's a stupid style nobody can find. So once again, thank you all for joining in. It's been a great pleasure hosting this and seeing how it's growing, and I appreciate the panel members that are continuing to want to come on in and do this with me. So everybody have a great night.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And cheers. Now let's go find Drunken One and where the hell he went so we can build this damn pole. All right, guys, build the pole.